Let's bring in Peter Zalmayev. He's a director of the Eurasia Democracy Initiative. It's an organization focused on strengthening ties between post-Soviet countries in the West. He joins me live from New York. There is clearly a complete political shambles in Kiev, and Europe is divided about how much pressure to put on, especially Germany, to put on Putin. So why not leave the diplomacy to some of the new politicians and Putin? Why is the West involved?
Well, the West is involved because, first of all, the West was and has been involved from the very beginning in Ukraine. Let me take you back to 1994, when the Budapest Memorandum was signed between Ukraine, Russia, Britain, and later joined by the US and China. That memorandum guaranteed Ukraine's integrity, territorial integrity, in exchange for that country's decision to give up its nuclear arsenal.
But wasn't it the fact that the European Union went to Kiev offering all kinds of incentives for Ukraine to turn towards the West and away from the East that began this crisis?
Well, certainly I would not pin the blame on, the aspiration of millions of Ukrainians to join the European
But the point is, the European Union must have known the kind of diplomacy and the incentives they were offering, if indeed they were incentives, would divide Ukraine.
Well, Ukraine has been divided already and had been divided, and I think a part of the significant part of the blame lies with the extremely corrupt, kleptocratic former government of President Viktor Yanukovych, who did nothing to unite the country and further exacerbated the country's regional, historical, linguistic divides.
If you agree a starting point for policy is to recognize reality, however perhaps unpalatable, why not give Crimea to Russia?
Well, it's not a matter of giving Crimea to Russia. Right now, even Russia has ruled out, direct annexation. Right now, the Crimean parliament has voted, the pro-Moscow puppet parliament has voted to hold a referendum on March 16th. But what is really at stake here for Russia is that it would set a dangerous precedent should Crimea either be annexed to Russia or secede, at Russia's instigation. It would set a significantly dangerous precedent for Russia with its own number of entities, autonomous entities, which are very distinct linguistically and culturally and religiously from the majority of Russians.
Mrs. Zalmayev, thanks for joining us.